Okay, so Brenda wants to be fat, or at least she wants fat letters. And so in this video, we're going to talk about making uh, block lettering or lettering in general fatter. And the classic way to do this is to add an outline. So let's go ahead and add an outline to our existing text. And now you can see that is pretty fat. Maybe that's too fat. Maybe what we'll do here, tell you what we'll do. Why don't we just scroll out here a little bit, make this text bigger, and now we can get a better idea. There's the original text, and there it is, just a little bit thicker. So let's just make it a little bit thicker yet. And maybe that's too thick. We'll back it back off to 4 points. We'll go something like that, okay? And what we can do is we can then fine-tune and edit this a little bit more. But you can see, if we go back to wireframe mode, the original thickness of the lettering, and if we go into enhanced mode, you can see a much thicker lettering. In fact, if we give the lettering an outline color, then you could see how much thicker the letter is compared to its original state. But the question is, how do we get a cuttable line with this thicker outline? And the way you do that, let's go into the Object Manager. The way you would do this is simply hit Shift Control Q. And when you do that, you get this. Okay, so you get something that looks like that. Now, that may not be exactly what we want either. So if you want these to be solid letters, what we would have to do is choose the Break Curve Apart option. See, now you have solid letters. And some letters are okay, like for example the letter E, we could weld that one together. The letter N, we could weld that one together. But the rest of these letters, we have issues. And that's where really, if we go into wireframe mode, that's what's really going to help us there. So what we want to do here is we want to delete that inside line. Just go ahead and get rid of that because we don't need that. And the same thing here, we don't need that. And what we really need is this right here. But you know, for this letter A, I would probably make this just a pinch bigger. So I'm holding my Shift key down and I'm cheating a little bit. And then I go ahead and select this outside line. And then in this scenario, we choose Combine. So here for our letter D, we're basically going to do the exact same thing. We're going to just delete, and we're going to select delete on this one as well. And then take the in part of our D and this part right here and combine. Okay, so then we do the same thing for our letter R here. So we go ahead and delete, and then we want to delete. Oops, I don't want to delete that. I want to delete this line right here. Go ahead and hit delete. And then we'll take all those pieces and we'll go ahead and combine. Now we do need to do a little bit of work here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my rectangle tool, position it where I want to make that trim. You can kind of position it wherever you want there. And then we'll come into our shaping docker and we'll trim out that little section for our letter R so we have a little bit of separation there. And not every type of lettering you're going to have to make these kind of adjustments, but some you will. So we'll go ahead and hit delete there, and delete that one, and that one, and then we'll go ahead and do the combine function there. Now, when we go back to enhance mode, you can see this was the original lettering. That is our thickened lettering by adding an outline, converting it to curves, Shift Control Q, and then making those adjustments to the lettering using the various welding tools and the combine tool. And then we had to do a little bit of work here with the letter R, and you can see that in fact over here with the letter A there's a little bit bigger gap, so we might want to make this gap smaller or this gap wider, whatever you decide to do. And for example, what we could do is we could actually cheat the letter R a little bit. We could grab our shape edit tool and we could select all these nodes. If you're real careful here, we could select all those nodes and then just drag the whole lot over. And sometimes it's a little bit difficult to grab the nodes just where we want to. So I'm just going to drag that selection again, because I had extra nodes that I didn't want selected, and then we'll just pull this over, hold my shift key down, it constrains perfectly horizontally, and now you can see that gap has been increased, but our letter R basically looks the same, but now it matches the letter A a little bit better. So you'll just have to play and tweak around with that a little bit depending on which font that you're using. But that's how you get a font just a little bit more bold, and then you can go ahead and cut it out with your vinyl cutter, or you could use a CorelDRAW macro to rhinestone that font.